photo in the wall. Thank you.
To wish you a warm welcome to France, welcome to Paris, welcome to Paris 2024. It feels a bit crazy to say those words to you. We have started this fantastic journey 10 years ago, and now we are here to welcome you here in Paris 2024. It's been a fantastic adventure so far, and of course we feel very excited with this unbelievable feeling just a few days ago before the launch of the games. We've been waiting 100 years. It's such a big anniversary for France, for this country, which has a very particular story with the games. We all know that France and Olympism are very connected since the beginning with the Baron Pierre de Coubertin, who has this fantastic idea to renovate the Olympic Games. And from that moment, France has already organized 5 times the Olympics, in Paris 2 times, and it will be the 6th Olympic Games with winter and summer games, and the 3rd in Paris. So for us, it's a big responsibility. We are coming with Etienne from sport, and that's why we are also so passionate with this moment. We put a lot of energy and determination to make sure that that will be a fantastic edition of the Games. This responsibility, we wanted also to have, I would say, 2 main objectives in mind, twin objectives. On one side, make sure that it will be spectacular games, to magnify everything that makes the games so special, so unique. Of course, with the athletes at the center and their performances, the diversity of sports, and everything that can accelerate and reinforce the emotions of the games. And for this objective, for this first objective, we try to really take advantage of the most magnificent stages that Paris can offer to the world, to make sure that it will be games into the city and not only into stadiums. The second objective we had in mind from the beginning, and to be honest with you, we even started with this objective, was how Paris 2024 can be also more responsible in the model of delivery of those games, try to create an impact thanks to the dynamic of the games, and bring a legacy thanks to this dynamic. So those two main objectives, spectacular games, responsible games, are also captured in our slogan, our motto, games wide open, open wide the games to the city, and also open wide the games to the challenges of our society. And if I can share with you some examples of those challenges that we try to tackle since the beginning, I have 4 examples in mind. The first one is definitely how the delivery of the games, the biggest event in the world in terms of sport, can bring to a country a dynamic in terms of practice for sport. And we all know the challenge in terms of health, in terms of sedentariness, and definitely we try to tackle this objective by having a program in France, the 30 minutes of daily physical activity in every schools, and that was important for us to work with the authorities to make sure that this generation 2024 will benefit from the games, and that we can spread more sport activity, physical activity in the country. The second objective we tried also to tackle in terms of legacy was the delivery of more responsible games, and to be part of this climate change challenge, and trying to cut carbon footprint by half in the delivery of Paris 2024 compared to previous editions. So we look at every main challenges in terms of delivery, starting by the facilities, the constructions, and 95% of venues are already existing or will be temporary. We had also an objective in terms of energy, trying to connect every single venue of Paris 2024 to the grid, to the electrical network. We had also in mind the challenge of the food, with a food vision, having a double up of the vegetarian offer in the meals. And of course, once we divide by 2 the carbon footprint, we engage ourselves also in programs, offset programs for carbon absorption projects. The third challenge in terms of responsible games is how we can accompany the transformation of the La Seine-Saint-Denis, which is a department neighboring Paris, that will have to benefit from the dynamic of the games. It's a poor territory with needs, important needs, and with the public authorities, we decided to make sure that this department will be the priority in terms of benefiting from the games. So 80% of the public money invested globally in the dynamic of the games will benefit to this territory, La Seine-Saint-Denis, and have the biggest legacy. So 2 fantastic villages, the Olympic and Paralympic villages, but also the media village. So to have houses, but also in terms of sport facilities, I can give an example, 18 swimming pools will be live in legacy in Saint-Denis. And a 4th and last example in terms of impact and legacy could be the challenge of inclusiveness, and how we use also the acceleration and the opportunity of the first ever Paralympic Games in our country, Summer Paralympic Games in our country, to make sure that all the stakeholders, all the society will also tackle this challenge of a more inclusive society. So we created events such as the Paralympic Day, and also a very strong program in schools. We also tackled the challenge of transport and accessibility in globally with Paris 2024 operations. So it's a very main ambitions, collective ambitions that we share with all the stakeholders, and of course now we are in the final straight, and definitely it's the result of a fantastic collective effort, starting with our public authorities, also with the sport movement, the Olympic movement, and of course with the private sector, all our partners. Our role as the organizing committee was to set a strong vision from the beginning with those two main objectives in mind, and make sure that everyone will be part of the delivery to have results and impact and success on those two main objectives: spectacular games, but also responsible games. In transition, maybe I will switch into French for the second part of this presentation, and of course for me now it's the time to tell you that we are ready. Donc nous sommes prêts pour cette dernière ligne droite. Les délégations arrivent depuis quelques jours.
Have been arriving here in Paris over the last few days. We've got 4,400 athletes who are going to be in the village of the athletes. So there is a lot of excitement, and that excitement is building up since the opening of the village on the 18th of July. I think we can say really we've done everything we can in order to ensure that we can welcome the athletes in the best possible conditions in the village. And let me just say in passing that this village was conceived first and foremost to be at the service of the needs of the population in terms of legacy. 6,000 persons will live in that village. 6,000 people will live in this new district, and that was the absolute number one priority, to ensure that this would meet the needs of this area. And we have been working with the public authorities to ensure that this also met the needs of the athletes during the games time, with training areas in the village with a fantastic restaurant. You can see the entrance to the restaurant in this wonderful area in the cinema area. There are going to be 3,200 seats, an immense restaurant which will be able to serve 40,000 meals a day throughout the games. So I can say that we are very, very excited, because really now the athletes are starting to arrive. About 1,000 additional persons will arrive today. It really is a fantastic transformation that has taken place. In terms of mobilizing the different teams, there again, we are really excited to be able to rely on teams that have been recruited, that have been trained, and that have an ambition around Paris 2024. So thank you very much to the Paris 2024 team. They have provided us with all the support since we started that adventure. There are more than 4,000 persons working in the organizing committee. Let me say something about the volunteers. Let me show you a picture of some of the volunteers working in the village. There are about 45,000 volunteers all in all who are going to be ensuring and contributing to the success from 155 countries. We had requests to act as volunteers to be able to participate in the Paris 2024 volunteer program. And a last word of thanks to all our partners, because since the creation of the organizing committee, we have 84 companies that are partners who are supporting Paris 2024, who provide us with technological solutions, they provide us with delivery solutions, and who help support this ambition represented by Paris 2024. We start by securing all the essential services to ensure that the Games and the Paralympic Games can run smoothly. Let me just say a subject of security is important. We've taken this extremely seriously from the beginning. It's a number one priority. We've been working hand in glove with the national authorities. And we have a protocol on the security of the Games, which was signed in January 2021 with the authorities to share out the responsibilities. What is the responsibility of the state? What is the responsibility of the organizing committee in terms of security? And that protocol has been streamlined and improved until today. So this is, as I said, us working hand in glove with the state. The state is responsible for all public spaces, and the organizing committee has the security responsibility within each of the sites where competitions will take place. And in 2021, we determined that we needed to have 17,000 private security officers for the whole of the Games. There are going to be peaks in certain days. We will have up to 20,000 private security agents. We've also been organizing ourselves, working together with different companies, organizing tenders. In fact, we had 120 batches of tenders. We have 110 private security agencies which cover 100% of our needs in terms of private security within the competition sites. So that is a result which really reflects the work that we have done, our close cooperation with the state and with all the other stakeholders, including the prefecture of the Paris region. Another important subject is transport. There again, we know just how important transport plans are key to providing a proper experience for those participating in the Games. We have been working again with all our partners, public and private. Of course, I'm simplifying, but we've got two main plans, one for the public and one for all the persons that have been accredited. I hope that my slide is on the screen. With regard again to transport, as far as spectators are concerned, we had a very strong commitment because 100% of our competition sites can be reached by public transport. So that the public, so that spectators can use public services to get to the various sites. And we've been working with the authorities to ensure that this would be the primary transport choice for people going to the sites. Also, focus has been given to the use of bicycles. All the competition seats can also be accessed by bike. There are 27,000 bike parking spaces which allow us to be able to guarantee that all those spectators who want to come by bike to the competition sites can do so. So we will also see that we've decided to develop a number of applications where people can get to the information. For the transport of accredited persons, again, we encourage everybody, where possible, to use public transport. It is probably the most effective and efficient way of getting to the competition sites. Collective, sustainable transport, but in addition, of course, there is a whole series of means with 250 buses, in fact, over 1,000 buses, which are going to be providing transport, 3,000 cars, and we've tried to use as many hybrid and electric vehicles provided by Toyota, our partner. So we've been working with the authorities, with the Île-de-France regional authorities and the Île-de-France Mobility Authority. The French Railways, Paris Railway Authority, RATP, Airports of Paris, Toyota, all of them are mobilized in order to ensure that the transport plan, or the transport plans, I should say, are as efficient as possible. Now, with all modesty, obviously, we're going to have to fine-tune certain things during the first few dates, but we're prepared to pick up this challenge. Another example, just to show you that we're making a lot of progress in this last straight. The River Seine, as you probably have seen yourself, is also something that has been a very strong commitment for the public authorities and for Paris 2024. We want to leave a very strong legacy. This is something that has not been possible. In fact, presidents have not been able to swim in the River Seine for 100 years. And we have been able to depollute the River Seine. And as of 2025, we will be leaving a clean River Seine where people will be able to swim in various parts of the river. That will be a legacy for the people of Paris. And the mobilization has allowed the city of Paris, the authorities, the department, and the metropolitan area. We've all been mobilized in order to reach this objective. We, the organizing committee, are sufficiently reassured that we'll be able to have the swimming section of the triathlon in the River Seine, but it's also a legacy aspect, and so we're very proud of what we have achieved, and we're happy to have been able to pick up this challenge over the last few years. As to the main operations, nearly everything is ready. We're also focusing on enthusiasm, ensuring people have a good time. I think that enthusiasm is growing. We want to allow people to enjoy the celebrations, to enjoy this coming together. Fans are starting to mobilize. In fact, since the arrival of the Olympic torch in France, on the 8th of May in Marseille, the flame arrived, and we would like to show you some of the pictures concerning the arrival of the Olympic torch.
Voilà, je voudrais vraiment moi remercier l'ensemble des Français qui se sont mobilisés en masse, plus de 6,5 millions de personnes qui ont accueilli le retour des Jeux dans notre pays. Ça a été jusqu'à présent une aventure exceptionnelle de mettre à l'honneur.
Exceptional moment. We've put sport on a pedestal. People have been very creative. People have really been prepared in each of the cities which saw the arrival of the Olympic torch. And this is something that we've been dreaming about. And I can tell you that everything has been working really well. On the 4 days, we had 20 million people watching the passage of the Olympic torch. So it is very important for us. It's important for us to have been so ambitious and also to see that the whole torch relay was a real success. We can be proud of that. As to ticketing, I think that there are certain important aspects of this I'd like to share with you. We're happy to see how the opening of the ticketing service has been received. We've reached the first record. More than 8 million tickets have now been sold on the Olympic Games. We're very proud of the numbers also for the Paralympic Games. That's more than 1 million for the Paralympics. I think that we have lots of very strong ambitions for the Olympics and Paralympics, and there have been some important aspects of Paris 2024. Let me just tell you something about the opportunities which still exist in terms of obtaining tickets. Here you can see some aspects being shown on the screen. More than 20 sports which are still available for buying tickets. For us, that was also something that we really wanted. We wanted to make sure that right up to the last minute we'll be able to sell tickets. Once we realize exactly what the plans are, so right up to the very last minute, there will be opportunity to buy tickets. We went to a weekly plan. We're going to be releasing tickets now on a daily basis. They will be available on ticketparis2024.org. Please ensure that people know this. We've indicated some of the examples, some of the tickets. Athletics final, €85. Basketball, there are tickets available up to €24 per ticket. Football also available with tickets as of 24, even €15 if you buy a certain number of tickets. And there are some very big teams that will be playing. Certain ones are world champions, so it's going to be very important. As for the ceremony, there are also some spaces for people to attend the opening and closing ceremonies. It's going to be a wonderful moment. It's going to be a festive moment. And we've got a fantastic spectacle which has been prepared for you. So great opportunities. Also something about the applications. I think it is important that we tell people about the need to download some of the applications which have been prepared by the teams of Paris 2024. The ticketing app is one of them. You know that we are only producing digital tickets. You're going to have to download the tickets on the Paris 2024 ticketing app, and you'll be able to find all the important information on the Paris 2024 official website. Plus, there is an application for transport. We've been working with the authorities to have an application which takes into account all transport offers.
As a conclusion, we wanted to give you the opportunity to get overwhelmed by the games, because it's important for all of us to be able to forecast and foresee what's going to happen, not that all the preparation work has been finished, and try to understand what the Paris 2024 Olympics are going to be like, including the venues, the competition venues that are all absolutely incredible. This is an example of the Concorde for all the urban games and sports. It was an innovation by Paris 2024 to actually want to put at the same level all these very urban disciplines with a lot of youngsters that are going to be celebrated in a particularly symbolic venue, also close to the Eiffel Tower for beach volleyball. And then it's going to be blind football. The Grand Palais also for fencing and taekwondo in a venue that is absolutely breathtaking, the Olympic swimming and aquatics venue, new equipment, absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, with an incredible atmosphere inside, with a look that's going to be amazing. The Stade de France with a new track and field track. That's going to be absolutely incredible, and we look forward to welcoming all the athletes in the stadium. Versailles, obviously, for all modern pentathlon and horse riding venue competitions, and Tahiti for the surf competitions, which is going to be absolutely crazy, the craziest that we actually could find in France. In the venues, you're going to discover the look of the games, the visual identity that was created by the Paris 2024 teams to offer them the best experience possible. We hope that the look is going to be up to your liking. It was inspired by quite a few things. Number one, decorating the Paris heritage. So you're going to see the main Paris venues dressed up with this look, but also a couple of other things that we wanted to actually symbolize in this look. The crossroads between culture and heritage. It's very festive, lots of colors, and we hope that you're actually going to like it as much as we do. We also wanted to actually show this look in the public areas, so the cities could actually decide to use this in their own cities, but also in the competition venues, as based on the decisions by the Olympic Organizing Committee. We are going to have over 1 million sport equipment pieces. We're talking about 4,000 different pieces of equipment that are going to be used in all the venues. Once again, with the look by Paris 2024, colors and symbols that are obviously linked to all of that. We also wanted to talk to you about the sports presentation that Paris 2024 actually created with the support of our international federation partners. In order to launch all the sports sessions, one innovation, we wanted to use a tradition in the sports world, but also in the drama world. We are going to hear 3 knocks that are going to happen at the beginning of every single session. It's a simple concept. You're going to hear a ring that tell people that everything's going to start. 12 knocks, and when the last 3 main knocks are going to start, the session is going to start. So this is what we're going to actually implement in every single session, especially in the finals when you have medal ceremonies for athletes, but also some famous people, maybe a few volunteers that we actually want to highlight and thank during the Paris 2024 sessions. And I believe that we have a short video to give you an idea of what it's going to look like.
Voilà, encore une petite originalité des équipes de Paris 2024. Un autre exemple aussi qui vous attend dans les sessions de sport indoor, c'est
We see during the indoor sessions the mappings. That's what you're going to be seeing in the field. Various innovations that are going to remind everybody of the games in 1900, but also 1924. What happened over the last few years and the last century. It was actually an amazing opportunity to actually use that before the beginning of the competitions for all the various sessions. And once again, you're going to be seeing that in all the indoor venues. When it comes to the medal ceremonies for the winners, once again, we're working on that to make sure that everything is going to be absolutely unforgettable. Small specificity is going to be that we decided to base ourselves on young people who are going to help with the medals, who come from the world of sport. So we actually identified together with the French federations a few youngsters who are part of the clubs, who are part of all these games, who are going to actually want to make sure that they can actually participate in all of this and be on the podiums and to actually give out these medals. And it's going to be a lot of emotion for these young athletes who are going to be even more motivated in the end and become new champions in the next few editions of the games. The supporter areas, it was an amazing opportunity also for Paris 2024 to actually launch an incredible atmosphere and ambiance. So we created what is called the Carré des Supporters, so the supporter areas, making it possible for people who actually buy tickets to be there with, people who are going to make sure that the stadiums are going to have an incredible atmosphere. 180,000 people are going to be in these supporter areas. So it's going to depend on the venue. For a few venues, maybe it's going to be a few dozen people. In order to actually start, it can actually go up to 100 or several hundreds people in the large areas or stadiums, venues. So once again, keep that in mind, keep looking for that. And obviously it's going to be for French people, but also for international supporters. The main idea being that we are going to have as great an atmosphere as possible for this to be a wonderful party. And speaking of parties, we wanted to actually celebrate the games outside of the competition venues. I'm just going to give you a few examples. This map shows you all the competition venues, or rather the celebration venues in France. As you can see, there are approximately 200 such venues in France. You can actually see this on our Paris 2024 app with the games map, making it possible for you to find the closest celebration area And thank you to all the cities who actually decided to create such a celebration area for Paris 2024. It was important for all of us to actually make it possible for everybody in France, including in the French outside countries or territories, to live the games and experience them. In the greater Paris region, maybe two main examples: the Parc des Nations, where you have approximately 15 NOCs who decided to create their own house to welcome the supporters and celebrate them, but also the Champions Park, the Parc des Champions, near Trocadero and the Eiffel Tower, 9 days long, outside of the opening ceremonies and a few competition venues, because you're also going to have some competitions, just like, for instance, walking in this area. And so all the medal winners of all the countries can actually get together to celebrate with the supporters. 13,000 tickets are for free in the Champions Park, and this is something that's not to be missed. Just a few words on the Marathon for All. Towards the end of the game, we wanted to actually organize a wonderful night, the last night before the closing ceremony, between the men and female marathons, because once again we actually switched. It's going to be a wonderful night, and it's a marathon that's open to the general public. Over 40,000 people are going to be able to experience this wonderful marathon. And there's also going to be a 10K. So 20,000 people for the marathon, 20,000 people for the 10K, so that it's as accessible as possible, making it possible for us to actually enjoy every single moment. Next, starting tomorrow, if you're interested in this, you're going to be able to see a documentary that actually follows the preparations for Paris 2024 called Au cœur des Jeux, so at the heart of the games or within the games, by two brothers who are the directors of the official film, the Naudet brothers. It's going to be on television tomorrow night. 5 episodes total. 3 of them are going to be broadcast tomorrow night on French television, and then 2 others after the games. And you're going to be able to actually follow this documentary on television. And then obviously the next appointment, the next big one for us is going to be the opening ceremony. That's going to be absolutely exceptional. We worked a ton of this for the ceremony to actually embody the ambition of Paris 2024 games within the city, and we obviously needed an opening ceremony within the city so that all the fans of the whole world can actually get together and actually follow all of this. But also for the athletes, to give them the most beautiful experience of the games in Paris, from east to west and north to south, so that everybody can actually be associated to all of this from the very beginning with the with all the athletes from the very beginning. It's going to be absolutely incredible, exceptional. Thomas Joly is the director, and we are ready with all the Paris 2024 teams managed by Thierry Reboul for the organizational part of the opening ceremony. It's going to be absolutely spectacular, and we look forward to sharing it with all of you. I already mentioned that, but there's also going to be an incredible closing ceremony. That's also going to be incredible. Maybe a little more traditional within a stadium, but it's still going to be spectacular. A wonderful spectacle, a show that is going to be a one-of-a-kind thing, thought of and designed by Thomas Joly with the athletes in a wonderful, festive atmosphere. Another ceremony that is not to be missed at the end of the Paris 2024 Olympics. right before the Paralympic Games with another opening ceremony within the city. So that's it. I hope that you actually understood everything just a few days before the beginning of all the competitions. And we look forward to actually live all of this with all of you as part of the concept of PAÍS 2024. Everything has been brought together for all of this to be a party, for all the emotions to be there. We're very happy with the quality of the work that's been done until now. It's also going to be focusing on the period that's upcoming. We know that it's very important to actually manage and succeed the preparation period, but it's also crucial to be able to manage the competitions on D-Day. Even though, for the time being, we're very happy with the current situation, just a few days before the beginning of the Games, as we are actually starting the last week before the opening ceremony. Very happy with the quality of the work by the PAÍS 2024 teams, but also all of our partners and the global Olympic movement, including the IOC, that's been a very valuable partner since the beginning of this wonderful journey. So a lot of concentration, focus, and willingness. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tony. I don't want to bring bad news, but I have two questions or concerns. Number one, you have huge floods in Haute-Marne, so with the Seine River. Is that going to have an impact on the opening ceremony and whether or not the Seine is still going to be able to swim in it? And then what about COVID? Are you preparing for anything? Is it possible that we could potentially have to actually go back to masks and mask wearing for everybody? Thank you, Bruno. For when it comes to the first question, the River Seine. We spent a lot of energy on this over the last few months, over the last few years. So now we are taking care of the last final steps. And when it comes to the quality of the water, it's good. Everything is being monitored and assessed several times per day, and everything is up to par with our expectations. The flow of the River Seine is also being monitored, and the authorities are very confident. The flow has gone down. We are measuring with Météo France the potential impact of the rain, and we know it's not going to be huge, even after the rain that we experienced yesterday. So for the time being, everything is in the green. When it comes to the Seine River, everything has been okay, and a lot of work has been done. Now, when it comes to COVID, it's also something that we're monitoring with the French health authorities that are very much monitoring the evolution of the virus. It's going down in our country. There are fewer cases. Currently, you don't have any specific recommendations by the health authorities to actually strengthen the whole system, even though based on what we've seen with COVID, the PAÍS 2024 team is in a position where they can actually implement contingency plans if necessary. For the time being, the recommendation is that the usual health plans are implemented, so hand washing, strictest hygiene, but for the time being, there's no reason to actually strengthen any of that.
So, and also in other cities, many competition will start before the opening ceremony. So how to balance the secure arrangement and how to make every person, every match safe? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. As I told you before, on every venue, we have a precise idea of what will be the needs. So we have a perfect collaboration with the security measures from the public authorities and the state, of course, the Minister of l'Intérieur and the Préfet de Police in charge of the security in all the venues in Île-de-France are fully committed, and there is an expertise when we looked at how it is being tackled for the Olympic torch relay in Paris with 500,000 people who participated in this Olympic torch relay. It's been completely safe with a fantastic atmosphere of celebration, and it will be also the case for Paris 2024, and there is for each single moment for the opening ceremony, but also for all the competitions before and after the opening ceremony, a specific plan to guarantee the security for all the accredited persons and the spectators. So we can absolutely guarantee that security was the priority number one of Paris 2024. And from this base, we built all the concept of celebration.
Third row.
I've got a bad leg. Tarek Panja from the New York Times. Just in terms of the security, people can keep asking you about it given the context, but this is also, a fun event, the Olympics. You talk about the balance. Is this going to be a completely securitized city? Are we going to see, the usual CRS police everywhere? And is it going to feel like a military environment rather than a sporting spectacle? And how difficult was it to try and make sure the fun remains in this type of event? And the other question, I keep seeing photos of police from other countries arrive. The Qataris are here, the Brazilians are here, whoever else. How many of these countries are here? And this isn't their country, so what are they allowed to do and not do? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, you're right to say that's a balance to be found between a perfect security, which is absolutely the priority, and there is no discussion, there's never been any discussion to put at risk a security model. So the base is how we can guarantee the security for the spectators and for the athletes, and that's why there is an unprecedented system of security in our country and in Paris particularly to make sure that security will be there. And also we worked a lot on the celebration concept to make sure that people will have this opportunity. There will be fantastic zones where there will be a strong ambition in terms of celebration to make sure that it will be very festive. And I'm sure it will be the case when we looked at what happened with the torch relay. Again, we had already this unprecedented security in place with a very large mobilization of security forces. So we can trust that this collaboration between the security, the police people and Paris 2024 will be effective. But of course, yeah, there will be around people from police, even from military, even from private security, and they are there to welcome the people and make sure that it will be completely safe. It's part of the objective to guarantee the security and to propose a fantastic celebration of the games. We never diminish and reduce the ambition in terms of celebration. I'd start with the opening ceremony, but to have this kind of unique celebration, you need also to have a security plan very strong, and that's the case. And for your second part, yes, I confirm that there is an international security partnership, like it's always done for any international events, and we speak about 40 countries who collaborate with France on security measures. Of course, it started a few years ago already, so they are working together for years now to make sure that it will be fully secured during the games. There is also a great partnership in terms of intelligence to make sure that it will be successful.
We're going to take the question of the man at the bottom.
Merci beaucoup. Je suis Antonio Delgado, le correspondant de la radio.
Antonio Gadole, Spanish television. Mr. Estanguet, we saw a lot of articles and reports in the French press actually showing that enthusiasm may not be optimal in the French population. And that's also going to have an impact on tourism in France. What is your message to ensure that the party is going to be happening? I think we're going to have to draw conclusions at the end of the games. It's the same question that have been asked several times over the last 3 years. People are saying that there's very low enthusiasm. What we see is that in terms of ticket sales, we have reached a record. When you see the success of the torch relay and how many French people actually showed up everywhere in France, including in areas where you're not going to have any competitions or any venues, well, these areas are proud to be able to partake in the party. We're talking about millions of people who have followed the torch since the torch actually reached the port of Marseille. So we're still very much confident to actually say that it's going to be a wonderful and popular party. All the indicators are actually showing that French people have been present, and that's basically it. Once again, we will draw conclusions at the end, but as far as we're concerned, we're not preoccupied at all.
have ever put together?
Well, definitely, there is the pressure is getting up, and we knew it will come. So how I feel very excited, of course, with a good level of stress, but it's not the first time in my life, and I know it's also compatible with the sense of rigor and professionalism that we have since the beginning. No, we are very impatient, definitely, because when we look at what the teams is doing every day, delivering one after the other the venues. When I attend some rehearsals of the opening, I can tell you that I'm impressed by what this country has been able to do and prepare and deliver so far. So I remain also humble because again, it's not done, and even if it smells good, it's not done. So we have to remain vigilant vigilant and prudent, but determined more than ever, because when I was an athlete, you feel with yourself if you are in good position or not to be at the best level. And I believe that this country has been worked so much that we are at the best level we could be. So everything is in place that the success can come.
Here on the second one. Second one.
Bonjour, je m'appelle André Fontenelle, la folie de Sao Paulo.
I come from Sao Paulo in Brazil. The IT crash over the last few days, has this had an impact on your systems, on the organization? There have been delayed flights. Have you been affected also? Have you had to update all your software programs? I'll ask Etienne to answer this question. Thank you for that question. Quite honestly, the CrowdStrike incident has had an impact on arrivals and departures, not on us directly, but on airlines. But we also had to close the accreditation during the morning session, but in the afternoon we were back online. But for access, for ticketing, no impact at all. Together with the IOC, together with the National Computer Service Agency, together with Orange, the telecoms provider, we've been able to resolve the problems which were derived from CrowdStrike. So we had a very limited impact as a result of this incident with CrowdStrike. I come from the Équipe newspaper. I've got a couple of questions. The first concerns the opening ceremony. Can you tell us how many athletes will be participating? Are there any countries, for security reasons, have said that they won't participate? Or do you also know how many athletes, or what is the percentage of athletes are going to be able to ask to go straight into the village without participating in the ceremonial part at the Trocadero? Again, with regard to the ceremony. I assume I know what the answer is, but can I also say that there are also other persons participating in the ceremony, people who've made an oath? I was going to ask about the cauldron as well. I don't know if you can answer that. When are we going to know the name of the persons who are going to be involved? It does depend on the organizing committee to determine who's going to participate in the opening ceremony, both for the oaths, the flags. Well, you will know who they are, I think, during the live broadcast. And I think it's important that we don't give you advance information about that. With regard to the question on the number of athletes, for more than 1 year, we've been working with all the national Olympic committees who have been streamlining the whole qualification process and the profiles of the athletes and the number of athletes who are going to be participating, who are going to be involved in the opening ceremony. Our concept depends on that number, because you know that the athletes are going to be on boats. So we have counted very generously so that people who want to be able to participate amongst the athletes can share in the party. And we are going to be able to adapt right until the last moment. Certain athletes would like probably determine, depending on how they feel, to be able to go or not to go to the opening ceremony. So we've asked the Paris 2024 team to be flexible and to be able to adapt, because if there are athletes who want to participate, they should be allowed to come. So I cannot give you any precise numbers to share with you. I don't know if somebody can give you a figure a bit later on. Oh, sorry, an important piece of information. The NOCs have told us that all the delegations want to be all part of the parade. So there will be at least one athlete per delegation who will be part of the party.
And yeah, the second question I wanted to ask is, do you know how many tickets? You mentioned that all these tickets are still available in various sports. Do you know this morning how many tickets were remained available?
On the first part, with the price of the metro ticket during the games time. The reason behind this price was definitely that we had to reinforce the transport plan during the games time of 15% more than what is usually at this period of the year. So there is a cost, of course, of important cost of this increase of public transport offer, and the decision was not to impact the users of the public transport who are already their Navigo Pass, or the access to the transport system in Paris-Île-de-France, but because we didn't want them to have to pay for the games, for the cost of the games, but to transfer part of this cost, additional cost, to the ones who will use it just specifically for the games. So that's why this has this decision to increase this price. Je vois pas ce que tu m'as écrit. Ah, vas-y.
No, we're just saying that. Oops. The access to the transport and global transport will still be available for 16 euros per day, which is still a very attractive proposition to go throughout many venues on the one particular day. So there is a special package also for Olympic spectators and stakeholders. 16 euros per day is still a very attractive proposition to go around the cities and the region. By Île-de-France Mobilité, who's made actually a great work to make sure that they have a special application, also to make sure that the itineraries are well understood, to help the spectators going to the venues in the minimum time. So it's a pretty attractive proposition globally.
And the second part of the question, with the remaining tickets available. So at the beginning we had on plan to have 10 million tickets in total for the Olympic Games. We all know that there's always some killed seats because again, when you build the venues and many of them are temporary, you discover that because of not a good experience, you have to kill some tickets. So we still have to adapt how many kill seats we will have, but there are still quite a good number of tickets available because we are less than 9 million tickets sold. So there are 100,000 tickets available still.
I'm going to take the two last questions. There is one on this side. Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Kemper, German TV ARD. Tony, one question regarding the cost of the games. Could you please give us some maybe actual numbers in which way the budget increased for staging the games? And we spoke about the security that is in place. Could you estimate how much money French taxpayers need to invest in security games?
Yes, on the budget side, so we started this journey with a budget, an overall budget a bit under 4 billion euro. Today we are a bit under 4.5 billion euro for Olympic and Paralympic organization. The mix of this budget is financed at 95% of private fund, So there's 5% of public money invested in the cost of the organization of the games. Those 5% are focusing only and entirely on the Paralympic Games. So the Olympic Games are able to auto-finance themselves with thanks to the ticketing, the TV rights, and the sponsorship. But there is still a need of public money to balance the budget of the Paralympic Games. So that's for us the answer of your question. So the reason of the evolution of the budget is mainly due to the inflation, because like any other organizations, we had to face this massive inflation on the past years. But if you compare from the beginning of the journey in 2015 in the bid book and today, we speak about 15% of inflation added to Paris 2024, which is so under control, because we were able also to increase our target in revenue and commercial revenue, more partnerships, sponsoring, and also more ticketing than what we had in the bid book also. So we were able to balance our budget on this part. Concerning your second question with the cost of the security, I think I'm not able to give this information to you. You have to address the question to the public authority.
The last question.
What I can tell you is that in our budget we have a significant budget linked to the security, because as I told you, we already have on our side more than 300 million euro of security to get the cost of all the private sectors inside the venues. So it's a very important budget for security for an OCOG compared to previous editions. So we tried to go at the maximum of the cost we could take on our side, and to let just the cost of the public sector in the street for the public authorities.
It's the last question. Just to remind you that a mix zone will be organized at the end of the press conference in the lounge if you have more questions.
Oui, bonjour, Alain Mercier, France Jeux. J'ai deux questions. La première concerne la billetterie. Combien reste-t-il?
As far as ticketing, how many tickets do you have for the opening ceremony, more specifically? And for the neutral athletes from Russia and Belarus, are they already in the village? And if that is not the case, when do you expect them? And are they going to be housed in the same way as the other athletes participating in the competition? To answer your question, for the opening ceremony, we have 100,000 tickets to be sold on the lower parts of the banks of the Seine. And we also have some free tickets for the upper parts of the bank. So it's going to be an opening ceremony which is going to be free for more than 200,000 persons. And of the 100,000 paying tickets, the last time I looked at the beginning, there were 4,000 tickets left to be sold. And the second question was? We want to welcome all the delegations in the village, and the athletes who've been qualified by the international federations and who've been registered to participate by the ISO and confirmed by the OC will be welcomed with the same access as other athletes in the village. And they will have exactly the same type of rooms, no discrimination whatsoever against them. I don't know if we have already welcomed the yet or not. We'll come back to you.
Georgina Grenon on our carbon footprint objectives. On Tuesday at 11 a.m. We will have a focus on Games Time celebration and move more legacy activation this summer. And finally on Friday, Tony will be back together with Thierry Reboul, our ceremony director, and with Thomas Joly, our artistic director, to talk about the ceremony. Thank you very much and bon dimanche.
Je veux dire que mon assemblée...
10h30.
J'avais écrit, j'avais pas.
Pardon, 16 € par jour.